There's an exciting new children's novel being released called Wizards Spell Magic in the Legends of Leander. Mesmerising, enchanting and spellbinding. As the dark wizard Delverastian searches the magical realm of Leander in his thirst for the power of the lost magical entities, bringing destruction to those magical lands, but when 4 ordinary children from our world accidentally stumble upon one of the entities, the dark obsidian gemstone, within the grounds of an old haunted castle, their adventures have only just begun. Dare you discover all of the magical entities before the dark wizard, and save the realm of Leander in time. A new novel for children, magic, dragons, wizards and spellcraft. Wizards Spell Magic in the Legends of Leander can be found at the website www.wizardspellmagic.weebly.com and also www.stores.lulu.com/wizardspellmagic. Just read you some excerpts from chapter 1 to give you a taste. The Dark Obsidian Gemstone. In a time long ago, in a place not far from here, the wizard Dagwood crept along the shadowy passageways of the haunted castle. He was searching for something very powerful. What Dagwood sought was the powerful magic of the dark obsidian gemstone. Wizard Dagwood's long black robes swayed gently about him as if they were possessed by a life all of their own. Dagwood's master, the wizard Delverastian, had sent him in search of the dark gemstone to bring him the powers of this magical entity that he craved. Dagwood grumbled to himself as he cautiously moved down the shadowy hallway of the castle. This dragon-infested land with its knights and witches was proving harder to overcome than he'd first thought. Dagwood drew his wand slowly from the long sleeve of his robes and held it out before him, prepared for whatever he may find. The floorboards beneath his feet creaked loudly. But it would be well worth the bother of finding this troublesome gemstone, thought Dagwood. The crystal ball of Delverastian, his master, had brought Dagwood to this realm, where it had shown them the dark obsidian would be found, the magical prize which his master craved. Dagwood sniffed the air with his crooked nose. He could smell the magic of the gemstone. Dagwood smiled to himself. He was close now. "It's not far now," he breathed with growing excitement. Dagwood reached out and slowly turned the door handle to the chamber before him, but the great heavy wooden door was locked. He took a step back and tapped his wand gently against the lock. Sparks danced from the tip of his wand into the heavy old lock, and Dagwood smiled. There was a loud click and the heavy oak door swung open. The wizard peered into the dimly lit chamber. There before him, on a great oak desk, stood a silver casket. Excitement filled the wizard as he could feel the very essence of magic from within. He slowly drew in his breath in anticipation as he moved closer. Dagwood gasped in amazement. There inside the casket lay the object for which he searched. It was the dark obsidian gemstone. It glinted and sparkled before him in the candlelight. Dagwood gasped, marvelling at the amazing sight. He stepped forwards, transfixed by the beauty and magical energy of the dark gemstone. Then he quickly looked about him, feeling as if he was being watched, but the chamber was empty. The fire crackled in the grate, and Dagwood quickly reached out and picked up the dark gemstone. The light of the candles flared, and flames from the fire leapt in the hearth. The gemstone glowed in his hand with an eerie purple light. Suddenly Dagwood had a premonition. He shivered, knowing then that the dark gemstone's magic held an all-encompassing power over him. He looked around, feeling as if he were being watched again. His fingers burned and tingled from the touch of the gemstone in his hand. As he stared into its dark depths, he saw a knight in armour staring back at him. Dagwood blinked and shook his head. "I must return to Delverastian with the gemstone," he thought, trying to focus. I must return. He didn't want to incur his master's wrath. Dagwood hurriedly clasped the dark gemstone and within the silver clasp hanging upon a chain around his neck as a magical amulet, and quickly he turned and silently left the chamber, his long dark robes swirling about him as the wizard invisibly made his way back down the hidden corridors within the castle, escaping through a hidden door to the parkland beyond. "Halt! Who goes there?" the castle guard called. Dagwood turned. There before him stood the guards and knight upon his great charger. Dagwood frowned, puzzled. His spell of invisibility had failed him. "I had hoped it wouldn't come to this," he breathed. With a sudden flurry of incense, Dagwood's dark robes swirled up around him as he uttered a spell from a long-forgotten language. Suddenly the shape of Dagwood's swirling robes began to transform right before the guards, as the changeling wizard suddenly transformed before them into his most formidable form, that of a great dark dragon, his head held high and proud, with spiralling horns making him a formidable sight. He gazed down upon the guards with disdain. His great dark scales shone with a translucent sheen as he unfurled his huge dark leathery wings before them. The obsidian gemstone glinted in the sunlight, held about the dragon's great neck as a magical amulet. "Oh!" the guards staggered backwards, aghast, as Dagwood, the great dark dragon, drew in a deep breath, bellowed a blast of flames above their heads. The knight suddenly spurred his horse on, charging towards the dark dragon. In a swirl of wind, Dagwood spread out his immense wings and leapt up into the sky, then spiralled down towards the charging knight, his talons outstretched ready to strike. The knight galloped on faster and faster towards the dragon, his sword thrusting up towards Dagwood's heart. At the last moment Dagwood swooped to the rider's left, just missing his blade, but the sword sharply rasped against the chain of the amulet on which the gemstone was held. Suddenly the chain snapped, and the thrust of the sword hurled the dark obsidian gemstone high up into the air. It glinted and shone out with an incredible purple light as it flew through the sky. The magic of the dark obsidian gemstone carried it on through the air beyond their reach, landing with a quiet plop in the dark waters of the castle moat. Dagwood cried out, screeching his indignation, but it was too late. The dark gemstone was lost. Time passed. Many years later, Jack, Alex, Morgan and Cameron, 4 friends, were out early that sunny Sunday morning. They slowly walked along the grassy parklands of the old haunted castle. The morning sun shone brightly through the trees, the burbling of the river sounded in their ears. Ivy-covered walls and battlements of the castle watched over them as they searched the grounds with Jack's metal detector. A loud buzzing sound suddenly startled them as Jack slowly swung the metal detector to and fro over the grass while he walked. Alex and Cameron quickly looked around to make sure no one was watching. They held their spades at the ready, following the metal detector closely. It had been Morgan's idea to search the parkland around the old castle, with ancient folklore telling how knights and dragons ravaged the countryside in times gone by. Morgan thought there may be a chance to discover some lost coins or old even relics from the past. All 4 were hoping they may stumble across a long-forgotten treasure in the grounds of this far-from-ordinary castle. "Anything?" asked Cameron. Jack shook his head. "Hey, what you doing, Scruffs?" a big stocky kid shouted from the top of a grassy hillock nearby. "Oh no," groaned Morgan, "it's Marcus." Marcus had a reputation as the school bully. He walked across the grass towards them with his 2 friends. "Oh no," sighed Cameron sarcastically, "it's the 3 ugly sisters. They're all we need." "I said, what you doing?" Marcus growled as he came closer, blocking Cameron's way. Cameron shrugged. "Nothing much," he answered, looking back at Marcus with mistrust. Marcus prodded Cameron hard in the shoulder. "I asked you a question," growled Marcus. "What does it look like?" Jack answered irritably, raising the metal detector. "Looks like a bunch of girls playing Hunt the Treasure to me." Marcus laughed. "Kids' games," echoed Marcus's 2 friends. They cackled with laughter and nudged each other. Jack glared at them, taking a step closer to Marcus. "Just leave us alone," he snapped. "We're